All right, folks, D&D Live 2020 Day 1 is complete. And while I did live stream today, the kind of first 2 hours of the main section of it, not including the Baldur's Gate 3 gameplay that was starting at 10 o'clock Pacific time, which was actually covered by IGN. And my original plan for this video was to try and cut down, take that stream, go through, cut it together, and kind of make like a highlights of it. But it was just a disaster. I'll tell you one thing, I have not laughed so hard in I can't tell you how long. I laughed my ass off throughout this because it was comical. I will be kind of saving a VOD to my Twitch channel, which I will put a link in the video description if you want to go check out that with me. And I'm live with the chat and we're laughing, but it's insane. It is just further proof that you got to be careful. Like, there's so many simple things. Like, maybe make sure that everybody you're going to have interviewing in your purely digital, event has a good quality camera and a stable internet connection and audio that's good. You like the standard things that us as content creators know. We don't need to see Chris Perkins in 240p breaking up with his audio crackling out to try and explain to us Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden for 10 minutes and then no more about that book at all. We don't need to, let me just get into it. So I watched the whole thing for the first 2 hours. I have some links that I'll put in the description as well, but I'll kind of give you the rundown. So 1, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden is indeed the adventure. It is coming out on September 15th, as the Amazon page stated. As the Portuguese-based leak stated, it is for levels 1 to 12. So that is all true. So here is the kind of page, the product page on the Wizards website. So you can see right here at the top, it says adventure for levels 1 to 12. And it doesn't really give us really any useful information. And everything that you read here is pretty much all you need to know that was given out during the live stream. They really did not give us anything of substance. A little bit about what it's... I'm not even going to bother reading it because you can read this for yourself. But what's most important is this epic... I wish I could zoom in on this. We get it bigger? Yeah, here we go. The Hydro 74... alternate cover art is just absolutely amazing, and I love this. I cannot wait to get my hands on the alternative cover. Also, it was stated in the only thing I can tell you, because they literally beat us over the head with this thing over and over and over again. This adventure is 320 pages. It is horror isolation themed, and it has 50 monster stat blocks in it. They said that I don't know how many times over the course of that interview. It's like 10 minutes. They're talking over each other. There's 15 seconds of dead silence while they're waiting for somebody to respond. It was just brutal to watch. So they did say that there is 50 different monster stat blocks, which is the most stat blocks in a given in an adventure, right? Obviously, the Monster Manual and Mavolos and things like that have a lot more stat blocks. This is the most stats they've ever had in an adventure. They also stated that this owlbear person here on the front cover that we've been seeing, this actually is Auril the Frost Maiden, right here. But this is one of her many forms. So what they're saying is they have, for the first time ever, they have in the book stats, I guess, for avatars of Auril or whatever it is for the Frost Maiden, but there are multiple different versions of that. So that's probably a chunk of the stat blocks are different versions kind of her avatar form and things like that. Also, nowhere in here does it state that it takes place in 1450, which is something that the Portuguese leak we had from the morning says, that it takes place in the Age of Upheaval, and that Goliaths are going to get reprinted. None of that has been listed or stated anywhere in any of the official material. So we'll still have to hold out to see if that's true, though I tend to believe that it is. So this was put out there September 15th, $49.95 is the price tag. Fun fact, I went to look on Amazon. It's still up, at least for me anyway. Maybe I need to refresh my cache or something. but it is still just a coming soon thing here. They also released, now this is what's interesting, not once in the entirety of today's stream did they announce this dice product. We knew this was coming. We saw this on Amazon. I had theorized that it was going to be basically the same thing as the Laurel Silverhands dice set. It is. You can see it's going to have 2d20s, 1d12, 2d10s, 1d8, 4d6s, and a d4. A player-friendly fold-out map of Icewind Dale. We have that right here. Durable felt-lined box that functions as 2 dice trays, similar to the other ones we've seen. And 20 double-sided cards with descriptions and illustrations of characters and creatures one might encounter in Icewind Dale. So you can see here it does have the snowy owlbear. We do know that that'll obviously be something. Oh, and I should have stated that was something else they said in the 50 monster stat blocks. There are like cold variants of monster manual monsters. So I'm assuming one of those would be the snowy owlbear. So this is going to be $29.95. This is going to be available on the 15th of September as well. But again, I still stand by. You can kind of see these dice if we zoom in on them. I still stand by the fact that I think the Laurel Silverhands Explorers Kit dice, these ones here, I feel like these look more frosty and ice themed than those ones do, but yeah, it is what it is. So we had that. But again, this was just announced on Twitter, like they sent out that this product page existed. They didn't actually, do anything where they talked about it during the reveal, which was annoying because that's probably I would say arguably one of the most important things people wanted to see was new content. And we had maybe 10 to 15 minutes of that before Jeremy and Crawford and Chris Perkins had to leave to go do who knows what else. I guess they were running adventures today, so that might have been what that was about. So then I also watched, I'll put a link in the description for it. I don't have it pulled up here, but there was a interview on D&D Beyond with Todd Kenrick interviewing Chris Perkins about Rime of the Frost Maiden, and they spent like 5 minutes talking about John Carpenter in this 12-minute interview. It was super slow paced, and like it was really felt like they were drawing it out, and like not on purpose. It just felt like there wasn't a lot of energy there. And it was like 5 minutes they talked about John Carpenter's The Thing, not in any way related to this. Obviously, they stated that there was inspiration because of the isolation kind of themes here. They also stated that when they started thinking of this adventure 2 years ago, they didn't know we'd actually be in isolation in the real world. So there's something to say for that. So what else was announced? Well, they announced this Beetle and Grimm $500 platinum set, which is a custom DM screen, full-scale battle maps, exclusive encounter cards, in-world handouts, high-quality wearables, and original artwork. I guess the wearables are jewelry. And unfortunately, we read through this, but like it doesn't state anywhere in here that you get the book with it. From what I've been able to gather from some other folks is that you do get like the book, but you don't actually get the physical book. You get like the chapters of the book kind of broken down so that you can run the adventure that way. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. But it's $500 coming in October, obviously. Not going to get that because the adventure would have been out in September. So getting this in October, if you want to run it from the start, isn't going to help you. We also know that there's going to be a cookbook, an official Dungeons & Dragons cookbook called Heroes Feast. 80 recipes inspired by the magical world of D&D, perfect for a solo quest or a feat shared with fellow adventurers. This is $35. Will be coming out in October. And that was about a half an hour of the thing. Was they had the 3 writers of it cooking stuff from the adventure, or from the book rather. And one guy was absolutely on a cell phone with like 240p. We'd see like him, then we'd see his floor, then we'd see him holding food. We could barely keep track of anything. Another guy was making bread, and the lower third of the overlay covered up all of the stuff that he was doing. Like he was making the bread, and you could just see him pouring ingredients and like doing something with his hands, but the lower third blocked the entire actual process of him putting it together. So that was kind of interesting. My favorite part, too, was they also were talking about how it was just like, oh, all sorts of unique and fantasy stuff. And they're like, human cuisine. And I was like, we are humans every day. Cuisine that humans have is not unique to D&D. We're all humans. But you can see right here, this is elven bread. And they show you a picture of what it looks like. And then the Mind Flayer, it also has cocktails, right? So the Mind Flayer was a cocktail. So that's interesting. I didn't need a half an hour presentation in our new product launch to talk about a cookbook. And watch people who don't have camera people or know how to do a cooking show. Not that I'm an expert on it or anything, but like, yeah. Okay, so that was announced. Someone linked this to me for GameStop releasing a Dungeons & Dragons dice tray to release on October 15th. This wasn't announced anywhere on the Wizards website, but somebody found this and linked it in the chat. So this is Hydra 74 art, and it looks like it is like fake gold dice. And these, I've seen this kind of style, this kind of like rough pitted gold texture with the red text. There are no details on it, and it will be $29.99 coming out in October. I'm assuming this is going to be exclusive to GameStop, which seems kind of out of place in my mind that GameStop has dice. I guess they kind of also have ThinkGeek back in their possession, but I don't know. So then I went to look up the product catalog to see what else was there. I should also state they did announce that there would be some new D&D comics. That was another half an hour of the 2 hours was covering comics. There's going to be an official Stranger Thing Dungeons & Dragons comic, which is listed right here, coming out on November 4th. Then there is Spine of the World, a new story dealing with Icewind Dale and the Spine of the World. And what else did we have was announced today? I didn't know if this was announced today or not, but there's this Book of Holding journal, which I guess is like almost like a Trapper Keeper style thing coming out in August. I don't know if that was announced today, but it's a new product that's coming out in the future. And then I think that's pretty much it. Obviously, I think Beasts and Behemoths has been around for a while, but in probably one of the biggest shocker things was this collaboration with Spirit Halloween. You know Spirit Halloween. Right here on the front page, the D&D collection, Spirit Halloween. You can get a Driz Do'Urden costume, a Caddy Bree costume, or the D&D cartoon Dungeon Master costume, Tomaril the Heartseeker and Quiver props, Twinkle and Icing Death props, a D&D journal, a D&D molded coffee mug, a fleece blanket, which looks like it might be of Waterdeep, yeah, and then a lanyard. So let's see this coffee mug here. Yeah, that's a D&D official. Can we see the description? Take a drink from this officially licensed D&D molded mug before your next campaign, and you'll be ready for anything. Let's see. Well, it's not dishwasher safe, so therefore it doesn't end up in my collection. And then we have a journal here, which is just, I guess, a lined journal for $15. And our mug is 15. Will I go to Spirit Halloween in, the end of October when everything's on clearance and buy these cheap off-brand Twinkle and Icing Death swords? Probably, just because I will. But hey, you know what? At least they gave the pommels thought into the different weapons rather than just making them kind of scimitars that look the same, which is nice. This is just called the Twinkle Sword as opposed to Twinkle. They just called it Twinkle Sword, and then we have Icing Death Sword. So those, again, interesting concept that we went with this. I like that it's Drizzt and Caddy Bree and the Dungeon Master, even though they're not technically like tied to each other in any way. And you've got your little quiver of Anariel with your 4 arrows and your Tomaril the Heartseeker. It's just a funky to me that this is the crossover that's happening. There's a lot of merch like stuff on the in-betweens for advertisements for different companies, like 80s Tees doing D&D, cartoon merch, And the real big winner of the entire event was the Whiz Kids panel, which was kind of the last one before they dived into the gameplay, which was one of the apps. It was absolutely the best because the person that they had kind of running the show from Whiz Kids was V, the crafting muse. And the reason why I say that is V is a content creator. Before she started working for Whiz Kids, she was a D&D content creator, and that still is out there doing her own thing. And because of that, she's got a good mic, she's got a good camera, she understands lighting, and she knows to, like, when you're going to showcase a mini, do the whole like makeup thing where you put your hand behind it so you can get a good look at what it actually looks like, things like that, right? And she got it. And Whiz Kids just absolutely blew it away with the stuff that they were launching. I'm trying to see if I can find it on the Whiz Kids website, but there was just so much cool stuff. So they announced a whole bunch of new products coming out, and I'm trying to see pre-painted miniatures. Let's see if it's on the website. So no, I don't see it anywhere on the website. I see Icons of the Realms, nothing. No, I don't see it. So it was in my it's in the stream there, and you can check it out for yourself. Just look for the Whiz Kids section. They announced that they're going to be doing, we saw the Sapphire Dragon on like some social media. The Sapphire Dragon mini is coming out, which is not a mini, it's big. Then they're going to be doing a adult white dragon mini, which is again another big one, similar to like the Niv Mizzet and the other kind of big dragons we've gotten. They're going to be doing I think it's like I can't pronounce, it's like Chardalon or something. It's not a Chardalon, which is a different thing. It's like a construct metallic sort of dragon. It's really cool looking. Then they also announced that that's going to be like an ongoing set of dragons, right? They're going to be doing like the big white dragon, the adult white dragon, then a black dragon. They're going to go down that list. They're going to do all the chromatics, all the metallics, and then they're going to do every other thing like Dracolich, Shadow Dragon, stuff like that. And the even bigger launch was their new Gargantuan series minis. And we're talking like that, the Gargantuan white dragon they showed will dwarf, no pun, I don't know why I said no pun intended, that was dumb, this walking statue of Waterdeep, which is probably the biggest mini that I own. He will be nothing compared to this. Like, this thing was like easily this big, and it was like massive up on its, and they said that it's going to be coming out in January. Someone told me the price tag was $799. I don't think that that's accurate. That must have been like a misplaced decimal point. I know the dragons were $80 each, like the sapphire and the white. And they said these big Gargantuan series minis are going to be all named dragons. And they wouldn't tell us what the white dragon is, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that it's Icing Death. We're dealing with Icewind Dale, and Icing Death was a dragon of importance in R.A. Salvatore's Crystal Shard novels. Hence the sword Icing Death, kind of where that sword's name came from, was this big white dragon. So they were absolutely amazing. Best part of the whole show was the Whiz Kids piece. They also announced that they're going to be doing a Icons of the Realms blind box minis for Icewind Dale. So, you know, then it looks like they're going to have huge monsters in that too, right? Or larger size. They showed a big Yeti. They showed a snowy owlbear. Pretty cool stuff there. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, it was just, guys, it was just so bad. It was cringeworthy at points. And like I said, it was the biggest laugh I've had, like real true belly laughs that I haven't had in a long time. And the fact that I got to share it with a bunch of folks online on Twitch while it was happening just made it that much better. So if you do have time to kill and you want to watch something that's, I would say, arguably more entertaining than the actual product revealed, I will link like I said, I'll link the VOD on Twitch that you can go and check out. And see how everything went down. And it's just too funny to me. Which, before I go here, is a great point to plug what's happening next weekend, which is the D&D block party. I put a video out about it, but myself and a bunch of other folks in the community have put together this effort to do a D&D community-based event. Where we're going to have panels, we're going to have actual plays and giveaways and all sorts of stuff. So we'd love it if you came out. I'm running a lore panel with currently Jordan with the silent PH in the middle, and AJ Pickett. I'm in talks to try to get Mr. Rex on there as well, so we can kind of get everyone's most requested D&D lore folks on the panel, but we'll see. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll have links to that in the description, links to all of the products that I said. If I can find Amazon links for any of them, I'll put those in the description. Those will be affiliate links with Amazon, so if you do pick up or pre-order anything through those, a little piece of it comes back to me as well. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.